Hi, Victoria.
Hello, Louise. Hi.
Hi. Thanks so much for agreeing to agreeing to do this. It's fantastic to speak to you about a subject that I'm sure everybody would be interested in. So why don't you start by telling us what it is that you do?
Okay, well, I'm Victoria Sheridan, in case anybody didn't catch that, and I'm founder of The Secret Calm. So I help people with rejuvenation and stress relief. So my main clients are women who are successful but are getting older and actually feel stressed because they're concerned about their health, their appearance, and also whether they're going to have the finance and the lifestyle later on. So they start building towards looking at properties and pension funds and generally start getting worried. Meantime, as they're getting a little bit older, over their 50s, they're looking at a little bit of fatigue and competition from younger people. So the idea of retiring and having to work and the longevity and their looks fading, their relationships changing, they tend to find themselves in quite a turning point condition. So it depends where they are along that progress, but it's definitely premenopausal and definitely postmenopausal. In between, they just get on with their menopause and their work. But there are stresses with menopause, but on the whole, it's who am I, where am I going now, and what's the future hold? And it doesn't look very pleasant for a lot of people. Not everybody suffers with stress, but when people are overwhelmed and working very hard, then they're depleted and they don't sleep so well. So that's what I help them with, and I'm enjoying it. I love it. I love seeing that transformation.
Yeah, great. And what made you focus? I know that you used to work in education, didn't you? So what made you change career and focus on this?
Well, I've always done it, actually. I've always been working with people with meditation and stress management in some form or another.
Yeah.
And then I started coaching. And this was when my life was going well. I've had some stressful times in my life, like everybody. We've all had challenges. But when you're younger, you're resilient and you just move on, and you've got somewhere to move on to, and you've got goals, and you may be looking after children, but I planned for when my children were finishing school and what would be happening to me. And so there's some sense of control. And I went into teaching. I loved it. And I helped with exam stress and teachers who were stressed. I was a coach and a mentor in that educational system. And of course, I was brought in stress management in the classroom in tutorials. But mostly because I was working with teachers and medical, so I was health and social care and education. So they're public services and they are very, very stressful occupations.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of emphasis on self-care. And so when I came to leave and decide that I was too stressed to cope, and the government told me I had to work another 6 years before I could retire, I thought, well, I've got to get out. I need to set up a business. So what was most natural? To work in stress management.
Yeah, fantastic. And obviously this week is Mental Health Awareness Week, and the focus is stress. So what could you tell somebody about trying to manage their stress? What sort of tips and advice would you give someone who's feeling stressed, particularly as you described, someone who's looking maybe coming up to post or menopausal?
Yeah, there's a lot of stages that women go through, and some women enter menopause in the earlier, they have it thrust upon them. But I think for me, going by my experience of life, was I had resilience when I was younger. I coped with all kinds of awful things. But as I got older, I was tired. And society has changed and expects far more from women. So my advice to people is to, first of all, have a little assessment of yourself and decide whether it's acute stress, whether it's a reaction to an event such as redundancy or emotional breakdown of some kind, relationship, etc. So is there an acute cause, or is there something that is going on, that's been going on for a long time. So like the job is just slowly wearing you down. For example, staff who work in hospices have continual bereavement. So people think you get more resilient the more things that you cope with, and quite often if it's your third or fourth divorce or relationship breakdown, there's a kind of like, why me? I can't do this anymore, I'm going to give up. So there are lots of things that may contribute to chronic stress, and we have different ways of coping with them. So assess what you're already doing, and that might be that you're drinking, that you're socializing, that you're avoiding. It might be that you're eating loads of the wrong food to compensate, or that you're diving into activity that's draining you even more but stopping you from coping with that stress. So it's really a self-assessment of your lifestyle to see how you are naturally trying to cope and whether that works, because for some people it does work. You know, we don't all fall apart because we have stress, and it's quicker to resolve it and get over it and move on if you have some help. But also, if you don't have help, it may develop into a much more serious condition.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's the main tip, is a good self-assessment, and then to see whether you need medication or whether you want to take some alternative health therapies or remedies. And there are some very, very simple top tips that I share with people when I'm giving my talks or when I'm going around the country. And I love empowering people, because when I show people these little simple techniques, they can actually go and share them with their own children and their loved ones. And a lady came up to me probably about 3 days ago, and I'd shown her one tip, and she said to me, I told my son he wasn't right and he wasn't too good and he was getting depressed, and he was facing a change with the university or something, and she said, I showed him. And he's found benefit within a few minutes.
Oh, wow.
And he's been using it all the time, just this one technique.
Yeah. Okay. So it's, yeah, it really does prove that, you know, these little things can help. It's just knowing what to do, isn't it?
It is. And mostly you'll look through magazines, and I contribute to magazines as well. And it's without showing people or really mentoring people, it's hard to put something in a magazine or a book. Perhaps a book is slightly different, you can go into more depth, but really in a magazine what you're trying to do is you're looking for a quick fix. And so the magazine articles will give you the norm, which is go for a walk, drink more water, sleep more, but they don't tell you how to sleep more.
Yeah, if you're finding that difficult. Yeah.
And is on sleep. And yeah, can you hear me still?
Yes, yeah, sorry.
You might want to edit that out because it froze.
Yeah.
So I've done a 5-day challenge on sleep, and most people have similar problems, but they need guidance. If you're going to win an Olympic race, you need a mentor and a coach.
Yeah.
And you need a good friend, and preferably someone who's not involved in your life, who can be objective. So that's why I value coaching and mentoring, because I've experienced that myself. I've gone down that route rather than counselling in the past. And so I love it because it's results driven. So if you want to sleep better, you need a lot of communication, you need support, you need texts and emails, you need someone on the phone, and you can't do that with family and friends.
Yeah, exactly. So what would you say to somebody that is feeling like they need to move forward with something, and they know that they need help? What, apart from sort of awareness and that self-analysis, is there anything else that you would advise them to do?
Well, personally, I think if someone needs to move forward, they need to make sure they're going in the right direction. And so that's half the battle, because life is a wonderful adventure, and I've done it myself. I've gone off into one direction and then found that I've done a U-turn, or I've just parked it for a while. And it's interesting that many years later you might pick that pathway up again. But it is a feeling that you need to be in touch with yourself, and meditation, sitting quietly, finding a form of relaxation where you are in stillness and quietude, maybe a little bit of music, but whatever works for you. So it needs to be experimented with. When I work with clients, I take them through a series of different experiences and types of meditation to find the one that suits them.
Yeah.
And in that silence, in that inner peace and tranquility that comes with slow breathing, stillness of the body, the mind might chatter for a while, but eventually your mind starts focusing on what's best for you. And your brain is a survival mechanism, and it will focus on what's best for you. And in a short space of time, the inspiration arises. And so as we relax and we become more focused on ourselves inside, we listen to that inner voice and the pictures. And it's just such a lovely, warm, gentle feeling that it also replenishes and rejuvenates us. And so it starts with breathing and stillness, and then allows your real self, your power to rise gently, and then for you to come to a knowing, not a thinking, not a believing, but a knowing. And that will tell you if you are on the right path, because you will feel inspired and empowered and excited, and then you come alive, and that's a rejuvenation. So in one simple exercise, you can rejuvenate yourself and make sure that you're on the right path. And then, of course, if you follow that little routine, and it doesn't even need to take much more than the time that I've just spent with you.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's better if you do take longer, but you can.
Yeah. Well, no, I felt the effects of that. I was nearly going into my meditative state as you were speaking there. Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, it's like anything. The more you practice something, the quicker you can have that result. So I can go into quite a strong state of stillness and inner peace very quickly, whether I'm in a dental surgery or in a queue in a bank or some frustration in the car. But of course, it's much better to sit in the garden for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Or if you're following a discipline that includes longer meditation, whatever suits you. But I do recommend that the quickest way to have assurance that you're in transition, that you're making the right choices, is to have that time. And of course, one of the things is that when we are stressed or anxious and choosing, when we are confused, it's because we are not able to listen, not able to be quiet and still. That builds more stress. And then we get more confused and the fog just builds.
Yeah.
Even if you put on some nice music, some relaxation music, and just sit. Allow your mind to work.
Yeah.
And then you'll see a difference. So that's my top tip. And I do that with children and people in hospital.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so powerful. So what about because I know that you also help people with premature aging. And what would you talk to people there about, if, the effects of that and how it can even affect how you look?
Well, it's a hot subject, isn't it? Because I'm pro-aging. I think my friends have known this all my life, that I've always looked forward to the next age. Mm-hmm. I couldn't wait to be 30. I couldn't wait to be 40. Couldn't wait to be 50. And everybody's going, no, let's pull it all back. We want to stay young. I say, no, I can't wait to see what that next age group brings me, what that next era brings me. And there's been rewards in each one. So to be positive about age and to embrace it, and all your friends get older with you.
Yeah, that's right.
You're not alone. Back. And you certainly don't want to do, I certainly don't want to do what I was doing when I was 20. Now I like to enjoy other people doing it. So aging is a concept, but the physical aspects of aging are something that most people feel they can't control. So they try covering it up with appearance things like hair and makeup and clothing and activity. So they try to act younger. But do you know what's happened? The media now haven't just decided that 60 is a new 50, it's a new 40.
Mm.
What does that really mean? What they're really saying is, we don't like you being old. You're not allowed to be older. You're not allowed to have aches and pains or change your pace or to change your values. You've got to still act like you're 40. We expect you to look good. We expect you to have all kinds of treatments and Botox and acid pills and God knows what. And you must really, to be popular and to be successful and to have longevity, you need to look it and act it, when really age is a beautiful thing. And there's so many counter arguments to that now, and so many websites showing beautiful women in their 50s, 60s, 70s, grace and style. So I'm pro-aging, and the main thing for me, Louise, is that it's not to do with the outer side, it's the inside.
Mm-hmm.
And the biggest problem with aging is the first signs of aging are the greying of the hair and the wrinkling, and most women in their 40s are already starting to worry about their face dropping and their wrinkles. And diet, nutrition, good sleep, all those things that we're told do work. But there are also other things in life. So stress damages cells.
Mm-hmm.
And stress stops you from recuperating and recovering those cells. So your cells, it's not a case of we're naturally going to lose our looks. We're going to lose them quicker if we do certain things, and if we prevent and do healthier things, then we will age slower. And we've got the benefit of science. So we've got epigenomics, we've got nutrigenomics, we've got understanding of the way that different chemicals work on the cellular level. And we can rejuvenate ourselves from the inside. So there's a lot of research going into, well, it's been done really. It's just a case of producing the products and the means for us to replenish ourselves and to keep ourselves healthy for longer.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a lot of science. I won't go into the science too much now, but it's basically antioxidative stress, which comes in through the oxygen that we breathe and the food that we eat. But it's also really antagonized by stress that we feel emotionally. Yeah, so emotional, mental, and energetically, we are basically killing off ourselves. And one of the things that I really it's a bit controversial, this, but our society doesn't really have a lot of tigers to chase us. So what we do is we watch horror movies. We watch chase and crime and thrillers.
Yeah.
Sitting in our sofas in the nice, comfortable home, scaring the life out of ourselves, and we go into these states of stress, and there's no relief for it. And a lot of research has been done to show that what happens is people become more antagonistic the next day. So if you watch a lot of harmful movies and videos where there's a lot of footage which causes stress, people have a more negative attitude the next day. They're more likely to say no quicker. They're more likely to be defensive, or even short, abrupt and aggressive. And it definitely shows in their driving. So there's loads of research done on that. So when it comes to childcare, sometimes it's not the children, it's the fact that parents have been watching all this stuff, and where does it go? Because stress is there for a purpose, and the purpose is survival. And if you have not got a tiger in your lounge, you want to put yourself in that state. So that's my pet lobby there. I can't understand why people want to do that to themselves, because ultimately your cells die. They damage themselves in each other and they die. And so you're shortening your life by having a lot of scares.
Yeah.
And it's common sense to me, but not.
Yeah, it's a thrill. Yeah, it's not you sort of chasing the thrill if that's what you like to do, but you don't realise how it's damaging.
No,
like you say, your cells, and which obviously leads to premature aging. So it's,
if you put a camera on yourself watching a movie like that, you would see your face frowning. You'd see your jaw tightening, and loads and loads of you come out in a sweat or cold. And that's why people want to get up and go and get something to eat in the break. They don't really want anything to eat, they just want to move.
Yeah.
And it can be sort of Yeah, it's definitely right there. But the other thing is that it's not a bad thing to be excited.
Yeah.
To have a thrill
That's
is a
healthy. Yeah.
positive thing. It can be stimulating, and one of the most recent researches at the moment on Alzheimer's and dementia is that learning dance routines, physically coordinating the left and the right and memorizing routines and learning different dances and dancing regularly actually helps to prevent and minimize any existing dementias that affect memory. So
yeah, training the brain.
and also, yeah, and you stay young. The more agile and more movement you can do, you stay younger. And I see life as an adventure. I mean, I'm 62, and I feel like my life's just starting. And one of my other little lobbies, if you like, is that we are teenagers. We're teenagers, but we're older. We've got our world in front of us. We've got longevity. We've got less pressure to have a career and develop and build. We can downsize. We can declutter. Enjoy the family.
Enjoy life.
Yeah. And yes, some people will have financial problems and they will have health problems, but they can be helped and lessened by other activities. So that's why I'm a rejuvenation coach, because I'm interested in women in particular need to find their purpose. It's a role, and they've been most of their lives they spend looking after other people.
That's right.
Yes, and there's time for us. So let's be not a selfish teenager, but a self-motivated teenager.
I love it.
I love it too. Life is just a big adventure, and it has its ups and downs. You're not going to have a perfect life.
Yeah.
No, but it's it's attitude and gratitude.
That's right. Well, you said some great stuff there to end on. Self-motivated teenagers and gratitude and motivation. We're ending on a high. So thanks so much.
Thank you. And there's a high five.
Yeah. High five. Yeah, really, really, really interesting. And yeah, it's great to talk to you, and hope to speak to you soon.
Thank you, Louise. I've really enjoyed it. And I hope everyone gets the benefit of all the work that you do. It's great what you've done this week for Stress Awareness Week too.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for being part of it. Thanks, Victoria. Bye. Okay. I'm going to stop recording.